Hi everyone, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm going to be going over my top 10 experiences from the year 2022. This is a series that all of us here in the office are doing, and I'm not sure how everyone's doing it, but mine are not laser focused on just games per se. There's a lot about gaming, but other experiences I had related to being part of the Dice Tower, sometimes travel, and just other great experiences. So this is, like I said, less a list of, hey, here's 10 great games, but more of a storytelling time. So if you want to listen to me ramble and tell some fun stories, I hope that'll make it entertaining for you, and maybe you'll get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of everything. So, like I said, 2022. This was a great year. A ton of cool things happened. I got to meet Trey Parker, one of the creators of South Park. That was a fun and just wild experience I wasn't expecting. I got to eat a Batman Crazy Calzone. Highlight of the year, really. I won't disclose how many of those I ate. Roy once tried on one of Tom's fedoras and then immediately regretted it, as he should. He looks like a rude boy, a member of the Specials cover band or something. And I even got an artisan handcrafted, one-of-a-kind, unique, original Mike DeLisio egg cup from one Dan Hughes. It now resides on my desk at the office. So, even though those didn't quite make the list, I wanted to shout those out. Those are great experiences, but let's talk about my top 10 experiences of the year. My number 10, the first one here, is playing through a whole campaign of adventure tactics with my family. My daughter is being raised a gamer. She loves playing cool games, and she has seen Wendy and I play things like Gloomhaven and other big old epics and campaigns. And so Adventure Tactics was one I picked up because it is a family-friendly, family-appropriate, and good family weight kind of adventure game like this. You play boss battle after boss battle after boss battle, and you just have fun leveling up the characters. It was so cool to see my daughter excited about going from a level 1 fighter and then multi-classing a little bit. Okay, if I have 2 levels of fighter and 2 levels of archer, I become a beast hunter. Or, I just, and combining these classes, very Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy V kind of job system type thing. And it's a great game. And we had so much fun as a family playing this together. So one of my favorite experiences of the year, my number 10, playing through Adventure Tactics, Domien's Tower as a family. My number 9 is an example of a category I call late night gaming. I really like late night gaming, especially at conventions. So at the retreat, the Bowerleys had brought a copy of a game that I really like called Coal Baron. So my number 9, late night Coal Baron at the Dice Tower retreat. They had brought it. They know that I put it on my top 100 list, top 100 games of all time. I rate it very highly. It's out of print. It's difficult to find. But I love Coal Baron. Played this with the Bowerleys. Played this with Jeff Knapp, who does excellent reviews on the Dice Tower channel. So if you get a chance, make sure to watch his videos as well. I really like him. He jumped into this game of Coal Baron. And I don't know if you get this way when you show a game to someone that you've talked up and you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm having so much fun. I hope they're having fun. Like when you're watching one of your favorite movies and you show it to someone and you look over partway through, you're like, please don't be pulling out your phone. Hopefully they're engaged with the film. I don't know if you feel that little bit of nerves, but I do when I've hyped up a game so much. Jeff did not have a great experience with Coal Baron. But the other thing that I'm nervous about when I rewatch a film I haven't watched in a little while or replay a game I haven't played in a little while is, am I going to love it? And I gotta say, I did. Playing Coal Baron again, I haven't played it in a few years. Like I said, wildly out of print, hard to find. I don't own my own copy. And it's not in the Dice Tower library for some reason. Once again, hard to find, out of print, right? Not every game is in the library. But the fact that they brought it out to play with me, and I would love to be able to do that at every convention, play games with everyone who wants to. And unfortunately, timing and schedules and stuff just don't always line up. But this one did, and it was such a fun game of Coal Baron. It was so good. It was one of the most exciting ones of it that I've played, and so I really liked it. Sorry, Jeff, thanks for taking one for the team, though. So that's my number 9, playing Late Night Coal Baron at the Dice Tower Retreat. My number 8, and like I said, this is rambly story time, but it'll come around. So my number 8, we're watching as a family. My Wendy, my daughter, and I are watching Captain America, the First Avenger. We're going through a bunch of the Marvel films. We watched the first Iron Man and Thor and stuff. We're watching Captain America, and I have to explain to my 7-year-old the existence of things like World War II and history, explaining, hey, this is what's going on. This is why everything looks different. Everything is older. This is the past. Steve Rogers is from an imaginary place called Brooklyn. So explaining all these things, kind of giving her some context throughout the film, but I'm trying not to do too much because you just want to watch a movie. You don't want to have, well, this part is. So I'm just trying to give her enough context, and we're watching through it. A big action scene happens, right? And then all of a sudden, Hugo Weaving starts Mission Impossibling his face off, and he's got this big old red head. So I lean over to explain to my daughter what's going on, and she goes, "Oh, it's Red Skull." And I looked at her very confused. Saying, How do you know that? She goes, "It's from Marvel United." So I'm raising a gamer and I'm raising a nerd. But it was just so fun that she's having this experience where, comics themed board games are introducing her to characters and stuff. The same thing that happened with me, honestly. I know, a decent amount of the DC Comics and Marvel roster because of things like DC Deck Building Game and Marvel United and Marvel Champions and stuff like that. So it's fun. We're watching through the X-Men animated series, and so Marvel United X-Men is really special for her. So just having that fun experience, something shared, and especially having that epiphany was one of my favorite moments of the year. So that's my number 8, the education that comes from Marvel United. My number 7 is more related to the job here. We've done different shows. We do different live shows. I have a lot of fun, the ones that I'm able to be in, and you can't have everybody in every single show, and I get that. So I do love doing stuff. I love performing in front of a live crowd, a live audience. I've been a musician. I've done magic. I've done magic tricks amateurly and stuff in front of crowds. I love performing, and I just do. And so the highlight, the one that I want to point out was one of the coolest, was being able to perform at the Dice Tower Cruise last year, the closing night game show on the Allure of the Seas. They had this really big, fantastic aqua outdoor amphitheater. It's where the diving show was, and so they had a stage up there that we got to be on. The audience was seated all around. It was so cool, just outdoor, very fresh, open air. The closing night game show of the Dice Tower Cruise is always after the library shuts down. We've packed up, palletized, boxed up, wrapped up everything, and then just a few hours later we go to the closing night game show. There's usually good attendance because the library's gone, and so it was such a fun crowd. There were so many nice people that came up afterwards and were excited to meet us and everything. If you said hello, thank you so much. If you say hello at any convention or email or anything, I appreciate that a ton. I love hearing that you all enjoy what we do. And this show was such a fun, it was a mix between like a big amphitheater, but it also felt like an intimate, crowd. And it was just really fun, people coming up and answering questions for the game show thing. It was one of the best live show things that I've been a part of. And I've been a part of some really great performances in my life, to toot my own horn. But that one was great. That was a standout. So my number 7, the closing night game show of last year's Dice Tower Cruise. Go to number 6. Just go back to the Dice Tower Retreat. I got to teach a game of Last Light. This is Roy Canaday's design Last Light that is coming out this year. I didn't include it on my top 10 anticipated games of the year, in part just because Roy was in the room. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I really am looking forward to this game coming out. And proof of that, and I mean that in earnest, I'm really looking forward to it. But Roy had brought a prototype to the Dice Tower Retreat. And he put it on the share shelf. We have a shelf sometimes where people can bring their own games, ones that aren't in the Dice Tower library. So I brought Broom Service, one of the games I really love that we don't have here because Tom is wrong sometimes, or you can't fit every game in the Dice Tower library. I get that. So I brought a few games to share, and everyone does, and that's a really fun little experience. Roy brought his prototype, his handmade prototype of Last Light. And so one night, late at night, last game before I went to bed, I pulled it off and I taught it to a group of people. So there's 4 of us playing it. And I just had an absolute blast because it's fast playing. The simultaneous turns work really well. I like this type of quick type of engine building. The technology cards are great. There's so much that I really, in earnest, enjoy about the game and I love that I was willing to teach and play this prototype copy at the retreat, late at night when I could have been going to bed. And partway through the game, Roy walked back into the room. He was out of the room, and which is part of the reason why I had the courage to do it. I was like, well, he's not around. Good, I'll try this, I can't teach the game quite as good as he can. But he came back into the retreat room partway through, and he lit up. He started taking pictures. He was really happy to see his game getting played, and so mixed between I had a great game of it, and I was having a good time teaching it to people, and just seeing him excited about it. So that's my number 6, teaching Last Light at the Dice Tower Retreat. My number 5 is another game that I played with someone here at the office. As a general, I don't know, it's not a rule of thumb, but as a general course of action, we try not to play too many games together at different conventions and stuff, because people want to play games with everyone. And so if you have a lot of Dice Tower people at the same table, one person gets to play with 2 or 3 Dice Tower people. That's awesome, right? We usually split up, and Wendy and I seldom even play games together at a lot of these conventions. But this one was one that I played with Camilla, and I really wanted this game to happen. This was finally teaching Camilla Adrenaline. This is my number 5. Number 5. Teaching Adrenaline to a group of people, including Camilla, because she's talked about wanting to play this one for a long time. All of us have basically said, hey, this is going to be a game for you. It's mechanically solid as a Euro game, resource management, and kind of area majority type thing, or like majorities scoring. But also you're running around stabbing and shooting things. This is a no-brainer, so she finally got to play it. She had a great time. I won't speak for her too much, but it was a great, that particular play of it was really great. There's a lot of fun tension, people blowing each other up. We're all laughing, we're all having a fun time. This is one that I hope to do actually maybe like a catch-a-palooza on or something like that. I think Mike hasn't played it either. Maybe we'll get him to, and then we'll have a discussion about it. I think Adrenaline is still a great game. Once again, that little bit of nervousness of teaching a game to someone that you haven't played in a little while and saying, I hope they like it. And she walked away from it having a great experience, I think. So that's my number 5, Adrenaline at the Dice Tower Retreat. My number 4 is back in the category of late night gaming. This happened at Dice Tower East. Dice Tower East was a very fun retreat, but it was also a lot of work on our part. This is the first time that we have run Dice Tower East convention internally, completely all on us, and it was very stressful. It was one of the most stressful conventions I actually had last year, because we just want to make sure everything was running fine and running well. I didn't game a lot. I really didn't. I tried to be agile and available so I could teach a game, but then I wanted to be able to run over there and say, hey, is everything going okay? Check in on the people running things, make sure the volunteers are all in order. So I didn't play a ton of games at Dice Tower East. However, my number 4 is late at night one time, late night gaming. A group of people had pulled out Slide Quest. This is from Blue Orange Games, where you push these different levers and you have this platform in the middle that you are trying to angle and make your knight slide around, move around, knock bad guys into the holes and move through obstacle courses and stuff. It's such a stupid, ridiculous little kids game. We played through all 30 levels of it. We started, I think, at 11 o'clock at night, and I ended at way too late o'clock, and we had so much fun playing that game. And I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard about like constantly knocking over the stick of dynamite. Come on, but I'm so grateful that y'all let me jump into that game, and that we just had a ridiculous time. So if you haven't played Slide Quest, I do recommend it in general. I also recommend it when you are sleep deprived, stressed, and living on the edge, basically. So my number 4, playing Slide Quest late night at Dice Tower East. Number 3 is another travel convention experience, and number 3 takes place in the city of Essen, Germany. I have never gone to out of the country really before. Never been to Europe. Never traveled out. I'm not counting the little ports and stuff on the Dice Tower cruise or anything like that, but to really just be in the heart of a city. So not just the convention. There's so much great stuff about the convention. Demoing the unconscious mind, just seeing a whole new convention, a gigantic spectacle that is Essen. So I met so many great people, and I can't even name people because I'm going to forget plenty. But if you said hello to me, if we met at Essen, that was such a great time. It was so amazing. But my particular highlight from the convention is just the wandering around. We had a ton of fun just kind of wandering around the streets, walking into outdoor shopping areas and stuff, trying out tons of food. Mike and I testing the subways system by ourselves and trying not to get lost and everything. Accidentally eating raw pork sandwiches and such. The Metbroken was excellent, by the way. But big bonus that I guess trichinosis is not part of the recipe. It was such a fun, different experience, and hanging out with Mike, hanging out with the crew, just wandering around aimlessly was some of the best experience that I've had this year. So that's my number 3, wandering, journeying around Essen. My number 2 is another convention experience. I've really loved traveling, but my number 2 experience is Dice Tower West, going back home to Vegas. My family still lives in Vegas, so it was really fun. It was a really great treat to go back a few days early and spend some time with my family and to introduce them to some games and everything. Tim Metivier, who runs Dice Tower West, is a great guy. I love visiting his Meepleville board game cafe and hanging out with seeing the people there. And it's definitely a homecoming experience for me. I love Las Vegas. It's my hometown, and I've definitely had a lot of great experiences there. Dice Tower West was great. My particular highlight of it, though, was one night, Camilla Z and I were wandering back from one of the other casinos. We were trying to catch an Uber back to the Rio, and this guy is walking down this area towards us. The sidewalk kind of ends. It's an awkward area to get up to the Uber pickup area at one of the hotels. So we're walking in the grass / in the street or whatever, and as we're walking along, this guy bumps into me semi-aggressively. I thought that he was trying to pickpocket me, and I got really defensive. I got ready to throw fisticuffs if I needed to, right? And I'm checking my pants, I'm checking my pockets to make sure my wallet's still there. I was really nervous, and I realized that this guy had just fallen on the ground. He was quite inebriated. He was under the influence of some stuff. And and then I felt really bad that my first instinct was defensiveness, and I just let this guy fall onto the ground. So his buddy is sitting there saying, "Oh, dude, you okay?" He's trying to pick him up. The guy had somehow gotten his foot stuck in a gutter. Like he was about to meet the clown from It. His foot was like halfway in there. And I had still so much adrenaline and everything. But I felt bad for the guy. They got themselves up. They were fine. They went along their merry way. And we were just laughing how like ready to throw down I was versus what actually happened. So Vegas is great, folks. I love Vegas. You never know who you're going to meet falling down on the street. He was okay. Drunk guy, if that was you that bumped into me, I apologize. I apologize that I assumed the worst of you. So, hope you're okay, man. Hope your ego's okay, too. But my number 2 experience, Dice Tower West in general, particularly that guy. And then lastly, my number 1 great experience from last year was actually about Kingdom Death Monster. This is a game I still haven't played. I didn't play it, so why is that my number 1? Well, it's because we filmed the first of the Game & Talk series, the highly edited, quick playthroughs that we do that are more or less inspired from Tabletop, Will Wheaton's Tabletop, but this is a project I love working on. I spend a lot of hours making these videos, but I really, really loved doing them. I have a ton of fun, and sitting down at the table, trying to figure out for the first time how to set up the camera angles, how to record people, how to just have that experience go, and it was just so fun. We have a great crew of people here at work. I really love them. These people are genuinely some of my best friends, and I think that they're comedians to a wonderful degree, and those Game & Talks for me just really highlight that and emphasize just how great of a crew there is here at the Dice Tower. And I'm not just blowing smoke, I really do mean that. Editing those things takes hours and hours and hours. And it's a testament to how good I think the crew is when I can sit there, listen to the same joke over and over and over again, to clip it down, to get the timing right, to switch the camera angles at the right times, and I can just still thoroughly enjoy it. I feel like I've played Kingdom Death Monster because I've spent over a dozen hours with it, even though I haven't actually played the game. But that particular one was so fun. The other ones since then have been, I think, sometimes even better. I think that I've, been learning things, hopefully, and I hope that people really enjoy those Game and Talks. They are some of the most fun, and in my experience, some of the most unique things that we do here, and I love them. They're definitely something that I put a lot of labor and a lot of love and blood, sweat, and tears into, and so that I hope that people enjoy. But I look at that Kingdom Death Monster one, I think, hey, for a first try, I think I did pretty well, and I had so much fun with it, and it's a series I've loved. So there you go. Before I ramble too much about all this, and before I sound too prideful of my own work, I really am proud of them, though. And so if you haven't watched them, I really do hope that you do check them out. They're some of my favorite things on the channel. But anyway, there you go, folks. That is my top 10 experiences from 2022. I hope that you've enjoyed this series. Let me know if you have any other, comments and stuff. If we met and played at a convention or anything like that, feel free to share it. I can't include every single one of those, so I include just a couple of ones that really stand out. But seriously, if we've met, if we shook hands, if we talked, if we played a game together, you helped make my 2022 an amazing year, just an absolutely fantastic year. And I hope and look forward to a great 2023 as well. So feel free to say hello any convention, any time that you see me bagging groceries at the local store or something like that, or jumping out of an airplane, which I will never do. Whatever it is, feel free to say hi. Thanks so much, folks. Have yourselves a really great day.